What's up YouTube? This is Lomax, Master of the Academy. Today I'm going to give you my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. I'm going to do a few minutes of non-spoiler and then I'm going to go ahead and go into the spoiler review. And I'll give you a warning before I let you know when I'm going to do that. So first I want to tell you I'm back at Loot XP today because there's 7 kinds of awesome sauce. Also, I got some of the games up here that you can see. My bucket, of course, is not part of their games. But they got classic games, they got their nerd games, they got some of the newer things. It's a lot of fun. I think you would enjoy them. Go ahead, if you're in the Norman, Oklahoma area, look them up, check them out. I'll give you a link to their page below as well as a phone number for them. So feel free to come in, and it's a fun time to be had by a lot of people. Now, on with the show. So I'm going to start off with the non-spoiler portion of this. And the reason being is because, well, people just want to know some things. It's still early. It's not been out. Well, technically it opens today. I got to see it last night, which was great. The movie is awesome. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's engaging. There's only one scene that really kind of drags a little bit. If you don't know anything about it yet, you do get to see who Peter's dad is. You get to see how the team is progressing and interacting and how they get the new members of the team and how they develop into the characters that they're going to be. You get to see different antagonists and how they become that way. And you get a little bit more backstory on some of the secondary characters and things like that, and how they came to be in the positions that they're in. So it's a fun ride. It's a great musical soundtrack. Not as great as the first one. Now, the first one was amazing for the soundtrack. I mean, let's face it. But, you know, this one still has some pretty good 70s, 80s music in it. A lot of fun. Baby Groot, hilarious. Loved him. Rocket, well, I guess he's Rocket. There's no other way to describe a genetically enhanced raccoon having identity issues. Yondu's back in it. You've got Gamora. I mean, let's face it, whether she's blue from Avatar or in a Star Trek uniform or wearing green body paint, she's just hot. I mean, let's face it. Now when I saw the blue girl, trouble recalling her name exactly at this moment, but it's played by Karen Gillan, who was the companion on Doctor Who as Amy Pond, my favorite companion of all time. I actually put her on the number 2 on ranking order of companions, which I know everyone goes, well, Rose is number 1. No, Rose isn't, Donna is, but well, that's a whole nother video we'll get into another time. In fact, mental note, add out the companion stuff. Okay. Karen Gillan played Amy Pond on Doctor Who. I cannot see her in this role. I mean, I know she shaved her head for it, and I know that it's a lot of makeup, some prosthesis, but only in one scene, as her head was kind of turned a little cocky this way, could I actually see her in the costume. So they did very well with the acting choice and how to portray the character and things like that. Drax is still Drax. He doesn't get jokes, although he is humanizing a little bit more compassion, but he still finds things extremely funny. I think the big ad in this one is Mantis, which, if you've seen the previews, is the girl that exposes Quill's feelings for Gamora. She is actually from the comics as well. They did her very well portrayed. So that's a lot of fun there. Visual graphics, outstanding. Of course, Disney, ILD, and the other graphic video companies that they have are going to make sure that that is a ride. 3D, IMAX, standard, whatever, you're going to get a great experience with this movie. I do suggest you see it in theaters because when you do see it in theaters, you get the big surround sound, the huge screen, and it's a whole different immersive experience than when you're watching it at home on DVD. So definitely go see it in theaters. It's absolutely worth it. That will wrap up the non-spoiler part of this review. I'm going to go ahead and give you a few seconds to click off. Don't forget to subscribe. And here you go. 3, 2, 1. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, this movie, fantastic, phenomenal. Go see it like I just said, absolutely. Now, so here's your spoilers part. We're going to go to the planet Ego. Now, if you're a comic book fan, you know the planet Ego. Ego is a celestial being who is Peter Quill's dad. Now, that part, I don't know if it was always Ego, but I do know that Peter's Quill dad was always a celestial. So, he seems to be a nice guy. He takes Peter to the planet Ego and teaches him to use the light, the power that's within it, teaches him to tap into his godlike abilities, but he can only do it on that planet because that's where the light is. Well, apparently, for many, many years, Ego has been going around planting pieces of himself that looks like a plant on other planets, and he wants to basically inhabit the entire universe. Now, obviously, this isn't great, but he's been looking for a progeny that can use the light and things like that, and apparently he's had several children, and Peter winds up being the only one who's ever been able to do it. So he wants to use Peter's power like a conduit. So he has the ability to become every planet in the universe using these pods that he had planted there when he was younger. Of course, this backfires. There are some things I'm not going to give away just because of the fact you need to see the movie. It's fun. It really is. The biggest story arc here, believe it or not, is Yondu. I know everyone goes, really? Yondu? Now, this was Peter's movie. It really was. It was Star-Lord's movie about him, his background, his development, things like that. But you got to realize, Yondu raised him from a young age. Didn't take him to his father because, as we find out, it's not that they wanted to eat him. It's not just that he was small and could, be easy for thieving. It was that Yondu found out what Ego was up to and decided he didn't want to submit Quill to that. And it's against the Reaver code to deal in children anyway. So Yondu's already on the outs with the Reavers. He is his own faction of Reaver at this time. And that was his kind of way to make up for some of the wrong that he did. And that was it. You get a little bit of story development with Gamora and her sister. I still can't recall the character's name, but it's portrayed by Karen Gillan. And so you get their development of how they're trying to kill each other and still be sisters at the same time, which is great. Rocket's having an identity crisis. No one's ever cared or left for him. And then, it turns out that he and Yondu are a lot the same that way, that Yondu's parents had sold him into slavery and he was a Kree prisoner. And so they have that bond there for a while. And then at the end, of course, to get the ultimate redemption, Yondu does sacrifice himself. So there's a couple more other characters that have a good development arc. There's Yondu's first mate who, inherits the arrow after Yondu's death. There's Mantis, who doesn't really have a big story arc as much as an introduction of a new character who will probably have a bigger role in a future thing. Now, we do have your protagonist. These are the people in gold that you've seen in the trailer. I believe they're called the... no, not the Consortium. Alright. Pause that right there. Oh crap, I don't have Wi-Fi. Oh well.
You need some Wi-Fi?
Yeah, let me go ahead and stop this recording for a second. I gotta look up. So our main protagonists are the gold people you see in the trailers, and they are the Sovereign, which is Aisha, their leader is Aisha, who they are genetically enhanced form of beings. They're all raised in pods. If you're a comic book fan, you do know that she is the mate of Adam Warlock, which we'll get into a little bit later. And apparently they have captured Nebula, which is Gamora's sister. Thank you for that. And payment for the Guardians helping them in the beginning of the movie is that they turn over Nebula, that they plan to turn over to the Xandaran government for the reward on her. Now, the Ravagers, not Reavers, sorry, wrong franchise. The Ravagers, wind up going after the Guardians because Rocket steals these batteries that are worth about $250,000 apiece from the Sovereign, and that's kind of how they all intermix and become together and things like that. It's a lot of fun. But Yondu's sacrifice, I don't remember if I actually got into that. His ultimate penance was that he did sacrifice himself to save Peter and pretty much the rest of the group. And all the Ravagers at the end came together. It's said that there are 100 Ravager factions, and so you have 99 of them at the funeral for Yondu. And at the end, the Ravager leader, played by Sylvester Stallone, is like, "Hey, let's go steal some shit." I don't do a good Sly. Actually, I don't do impressions. It's kind of the reason I just talk a lot. So anyway, I'm going to go with the big spoiler now. Everyone wants to know the pod. Mid-credit scene at the end, you see Aisha standing there staring at this thing. Her aide comes up and says, "The council wants to see you." She goes, "Let me guess, you're upset by the loss of resources, because let's face it, they got their butts kicked by a god, technically also a demigod, and things like that." So, and of course that's why they want to see her. And she's like, "Well, when they see this, they're not going to worry about that." And this attendant looks up and says, "Well, is that a birthing pod or a new birthing pod?" And she says, "Yes, I shall call him Adam." So that comes into Adam Warlock, and that's where he will come in. I have a feeling we may see him at the end of Ragnarok. We're definitely going to see him in Infinity Wars. They did let it slip that they're going to have an Avengers 4 called Infinity Crisis, and comic book wise, that's when Adam Warlock gets the Infinity Gauntlet. For those of you who love Vision, I'm sorry, he has a soul stone in his forehead. He's going to die. That's just, they have to rip it out to complete the gauntlet. And I hope that Tony finds a way to save him, but that's comic book history, as they say, and it has to happen. So that's the progression of things right now. Now, Adam Warlock is a lot like Doctor Strange, okay? Yes, they have powers and things like that, but the fact of the matter is that he's not an often played character. It's one of those, hey, I know the name, I don't know a lot unless I'm a fan. And that is because Adam and Strange, they basically show up when big crap is about to happen. So I'm looking very much forward to the Ragnarok, the Infinity Wars, the Black Panther, and all the other movies that are going to come out that's going to have these small cameo bits of these guys that's just going to propel the story and massively create an in-depth universe. I think they're actually tying the movies together a lot better than they did the comics, things like that. So props to everyone who worked on the film. It's just fantastic. If you get a chance, go see it, absolutely, 100%. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10 because it only had 5 or 10 minutes of story drag, and that's pretty much when they were on Ego's planet when they first got there. Other than that, it progressed action-packed the whole way. It's fantastic. Alright, zoom out. It's going to be a lot of editing. That'll wrap it up for today. I'm sorry. That'll wrap it up for today, kids, but, oh crap. That'll wrap it up today. But I have one final thing I'd like to say. My channel is not sponsored. I don't get paid for anything, but I would like you to know that today I'm at Luton XP again. They're a great company here. You got to check them out. There's a lot of things that you can do here. I'll give you a quick look into that. And then I'll go into the promo that I shot earlier. So just remember, next time you're in Norman, Oklahoma, stop by the Luton XP. You can fill up on a latte. You can play some Dungeons & Dragons. Get all your X-Wing and Star Wars gear that you need for games. Or sit in the lounge with a little bit of Pac-Man and relax, having fun with friends. And if you spend as much time here as some people, then don't forget to order your lunch. I'm Lomax from the Academy. You have a good day. Remember, Han shot first.